Okay, so I've been in a few music videos, but not intentionally, meaning that I was not like cast in the video or didn't have a part in the video, not to my immediate knowledge at least. But a couple of the ones that come to mind a while ago, back around, 88, Ace Frehley's second solo album, Second Sighting. As many people know, I worked with Ace back then. And there was a music video for a song called It's Over Now that was sung by his keyboard player, rhythm guitar player at the time, Todd Howarth. And we went to England, myself and the band, around 88, because I was traveling and working with Ace, and he was playing Hammersmith Odeon in England. And we went over there and we hired a music video crew to shoot what we were doing for music videos from Ace's second record, which was called Second Sighting. And as I walked off the plane in England with Ace, coming out of customs, I didn't know, but there was a camera there shooting Ace coming out of customs, and I was walking right with him. And that clip ended up showing up in the music video to the song It's Over Now. So if you've seen that video, you will see me coming out of customs right next to Ace. I think I'm holding a briefcase or something as we came off the plane. So I was in that one, and that's what I mean by unintentionally. And also the Winery Dogs, a band that I'm very close to, more of a way more current thing. There was a couple videos that they did that I ended up being in as well, just because I was hanging around those guys on their bus in the dressing room. And same deal, cameraman shooting random footage. And there's a couple clips of me in there with those guys. So definitely the video for Fire for Winery Dogs. And there's maybe one other where there's a quick shot or two of me. So I've been in music videos, but not like I was asked to be in it or asked to play a part and actually be featured in it. Just sort of random scattershot camera stuff that showed up, which is kind of cool for history, I guess. Thank you for that email, David. This is from Chad in Houston. Eddie, I hope this email finds you well. Couple quick things. I couldn't help but laugh when I tweeted to you a week or so ago about being in a diner on a Friday night, and while reading your tweets, Kiss comes on over the house system, and how I said somehow all roads always lead back to you and Kiss. I remember that. I appreciate the response and get a good laugh out of it. He continues, no diss on Joan Jett, but if you could have a different band for the fourth slot on the stadium tour from that era, who would you most like to see? My pick would be the Bullet Boys, seeing as they now have all original members reunited. Chad, I understand that you're certainly not dissing Joan Jett. Let me address that first. It is not... we live in such a hypersensitive society and such a PC society, which I friggin' hate, by the way, which I'll never be, where you can't even say that something doesn't feel right to you, or you don't think, you don't like a certain band being on a certain bill. You are not out of bounds at all. And this is not a diss on Joan Jett, but Joan Jett is from a different cloth than the other three bands on that stadium tour bill. Let's be honest. Okay? Joan Jett is a legend and a great rocker and has had some great songs, but Joan Jett is on a different side of the plate, if you will, of that era of 80s rock. Joan Jett was never included in the Motley, Def Leppard, Poison world. It was a different thing. Not saying it wasn't great, and she's not great, but it is a little bit different of a vibe. She was not part of that sort of, glammy 80s hard rock world. She was part of the hard rock world in her own bubble, but not part of that scene. I admit that, and I think anybody would be foolish not to. And by the way, I think that's exactly why she's on this tour, because they're like, okay, she'll still appeal to 80s artists. It's a woman. It comes from a little bit of a different place, and she still rocks. So I get all that. But you'd be kidding yourself to think of Joan Jett in the same breath as the Rat, Winger, Warrant, Poison, Motley world. It's just different. So I understand where you're coming from, Chad. And to answer your question, who else would I see in that spot? No disrespect to the Bullet Boys at all. They're a real good band, but they just were never that big. Original lineup or not, they were never that big. They had one semi-hit, and that's it. Same with, I don't know, a band like LA Guns, who are really good, but never that huge that they'd be in a spot like that. You need a band that has, 3, 4, 5 real big hit singles if you really want somebody that has some real draw there. Extreme is a phenomenal band as well, and they had a couple of hits. But again, Extreme had one gargantuan hit and one sort of medium hit, and that's about it. But a great band. If Rat had Warren DeMartini back in the band, you could say they'd be great in that spot. But Rat might not want to open for Poison. So it's a bit of a delicate thing to sort of figure out. If Dokken had George Lynch in the band full time, maybe that's a good band in that slot, other than what they have. I'll give you one. Hold on. Ready for this? You know who would have been a better fit in that slot? And I'm not saying Joan Jett isn't a fit, but going back to what I was saying, my point about being just slightly a little left of center from a direct hit into that world, but you know who would have been a direct hit into that world? Who was also a woman? Lita Ford. There you go. That just came to me. Lita Ford is way more in the zone of Motley, Poison world, Def Leppard world than Joan Jett is. She was actually